Welcome to my third layout for the Shimelle Design Team 2016. This week in April, we are doing the challenge of teens, scrapbook your teen, or a teen that you know. And here I'm showing you the label punch that I'm using for these little bits of journaling. And the whole bottom portion of my layout is going to be these punched labels with different journaling tidbits about life at 17 right now. And we were to be inspired by Kirsty Smith, and she did a layout and a feature on how to hide a story in plain sight. So that got me thinking about how I could incorporate computer journaling and still stay within my style. So usually I try to fit in the computer journaling somewhere near the photo, and this time I thought, well, how can I use my journaling different and make it more a design element? And here you're seeing I finished all the labels. I attached them with just a tiny bit of adhesive, and then I stitched through the top of most of them. So now my focus is going to be the top portion of the page. You see me point here, and I'm like, what can I put up here? And this is where having a somewhat messy desk is a good thing. Because I had this Heidi Swap cellophane laying around from Christmas, and it's pretty, so I'm like, yeah, let's use this. And it'll just add a little bit of texture and interest to the top, where I'm going to add some little cell phones. There's a free cut file from Scrapbook and Cards Today magazine on their blog. I think Nicole Noasad designs these, and they're free, so it's pretty cool that they give those away. And so I'm using the cell phone, because what's more perfect than teens and cell phones? They kind of go together like peanut butter and jelly, so that inspired me to use the cell phones for the top of this. And so I cut the cellophane, and I'm going to hold it down with these little magnets until I decide how to adhere it. And there's the, oh my gosh, they're so cute. And I end up, oh, I love the back side too. I used 12 different Shimelle Starshine papers. And I cut the back shadow portion, which looks to be the cover, out of the Shimelle Starshine papers. And I just varied the colors so that I didn't have too blue or too pink right together. And I love that she has a big variety of different patterns. So I was able to use unique patterns, and not one of them is a repeat. So 12 different patterns here. There's 10 cell phones, and then I used 2 other patterns on the rest of the page. So 12 unique patterns. And here I'm going to use the fun foam, and I get the idea to lift up every other one of the little cell phone die cuts so that it will add some more texture and interest to the top of the page. And I'm going to use my high-tech ATG gun to adhere these, and it sticks really well to the cellophane, and you don't need anything extra. So I think oh, that one's so cute. I like all the different little patterns, and this is perfect for my daughter because she loves anything that's miniature. She's like, oh my gosh, the little cell phones are so cute. And then I like this star, and I think because this layout is going to be a focus of like social media, apps, and technology in teen life right now. So that's how I'm going to add the stars, because that to me says like internet, Wi-Fi, outer space, you know. can see above, I had used my Tim Holtz mini attacher, the tiny attacher staples, to adhere the cellophane, and I folded it up a little bit. And here's a hashtag. I'm going to use lots of elements that kind of remind us of our digital life today. So hashtag, and then in between the life and 17 at the bottom, it'll have an @ sign, the little wood veneer. And I'm using the little wood veneer stars from Studio Calico in 3 areas on the layout. And I'm just using the leftover strips from when I cut out the little cell phones. Just any of these little tiny leftover strips, so I don't waste them. I'm using them to look like they're layers behind the photo. And I have one extra cell phone that I cut, and I'm laying it down there with the other stars. So the title of this page is going to be Life at 17. And I'll just keep adding different patterns. Right now I have lots of pink and yellow behind the photo, and I need to add a third color. I think I'll add the turquoise aqua color. And then I'm showing you each pack that I took the little die cuts out of. And then I think I saw another YouTuber, when she used something out of the pack, she crossed it off, so I just used my Shimelle pen and cross out what I used here. And I also used that twinkle acetate, so I check marked that one. I really like the different textures, like you have the acetate, you have the chipboard, some stickers. I used the sticker pack for the stars. Oh, and my kitty, baby kitty's gonna make a cameo here. She's like, "What you doing, Mama? Lots of papers." Oh, actually, I'm Grandma. My daughter's the kitty's mom, so there's the @ sign. And I like to use a lot of the natural wood veneer since there's a lot of color on this layout to tie in another neutral. So here I'll pile that star acetate from the ephemera pack of chipboard and acetate die cuts there. And then I'll add a Studio Calico wood veneer star and some star paper that I cut in a banner strip there. I'm trying to tuck it underneath. There we go. Here comes baby kitty again. She's so cute. She wants to steal something. Sometimes she steals the washi. So I'll pick her up here. You can see her moving the packages. Oh, she's so cute. So I'm going to keep moving things around here and try to get my layers how I want them. And then I realized that I need another couple colors. That's why I'm pointing to that area on the left there. So I'll try another chipboard piece. And I just keep all of her packs of embellishments to the side there while I create. That way I can just grab whatever suits my fancy there. And I also like that her enamel shapes from the True Stories collection coordinate with this. So I'll use a couple of the little enamel shapes. There's a yellow star there. So mostly what I wanted to use was lots of yellow on the bottom portion, and then secondary was pink, and then the third color, or maybe secondary is aqua, and then the third color, accent color, is pink. We'll go with that. So usually for time's sake, I would edit out all of the rest of this layering and moving things around, but I thought it would be good this time, even though it's an 18-minute video. You guys can fast forward it if you don't want to look at this, but I thought I would leave in all of the steps and not trim any out, so you see how I decide what to add where. And you see how I move things around and change my mind a couple times versus just seeing the final layout and not knowing how I got there. Because I change a couple of these things, and I'm just using the ruler to make sure I'm at the center mark, since that @ sign I want to be at the center. And I'll keep moving around and trying to decide how to adhere. I'm going to use the staples to adhere all of the wood veneer stars. Because it's over the acetate, I didn't want to use a liquid glue because it won't stick to the acetate. So here I'm just going to lift up the layout and try not to spill everything. And use the tiny attacher here. I like to use it on the acetate, all the different die cuts, because it's a great way to adhere it without seeing your adhesive. So here I'll move back all the little pieces that kind of slid when I lifted the layout up here. And then I'll just keep going back. I turn that over, I end up thinking that there's too much pink right there together. Even though I really like that circle pattern paper that I turned over. There's bigger circles that are aqua on the back, so I think it adds another layer of dimension to have a bigger scale. And then I'm moving the enamel shapes around here on the clear backing sheet so I can decide where I want them before I stick it down. And I use my X-Acto knife to place those. And you can kind of see how I'm moving everything around here at the end. And I think that little tiny top file folder looking piece, the coral piece at the top left right there that I just touched, that one says important stuff, and I'm going to end up moving that over to the far left. And I'm just trying to use this paper clip and adhere it underneath a couple more layers. Thank you so much for joining me today. Here's a couple close-ups of the layout. You can see the top portion a little bit better and the layers underneath the photo.